a spark of hope. We should be a beacon of light, not just for people overseas, but for people in this country. When they see the dignity of our dress, when they see the dignity of our behavior, when they see the excellence of our schools, when they see the professionalism of our doctors, of our healers, of our lawyers, when they see people that are ethical at the root and the core, and they won't inform, they won't absolve themselves of those ethical responsibilities, then we'll be a beacon of light. And people will say, I want to be like those people. Like that man, we had a man in a 7-Eleven store, and a man came in with a pipe trying to steal money from him. And he said to him, he took out a gun. He had a gun. He pulled out the gun, and the man stopped. He dropped the gun. And he said, I'm so sorry. I'm just desperate. I don't have any food. That Muslim man gave him $40 and made him promise that he wouldn't steal again. And then the man said, this is something that you can see, because it was filmed. Bismillah. That man who was robbing that man said, I want to be a Muslim. And he said the Shahada right there and then. That's like something you read in the books. Because he treated him like a human being. Too many people are denigrated in this culture. We have now a culture that's emerging where people live in these bubbles, and then other people live in another world, where SWAT teams invade their homes on a daily basis, where their children are taken away from them because of these protective services, and they don't have the lawyers that can prevent that from happening. Really, there are two Americas that have emerged: the VIP America and the poor America. The middle class has eroded immensely. Now you can, if you have money, you can drive in the fast lane. It didn't used to be like that in America. Now if you go to Disneyland or any of these amusement parks, you have fast tracks. Because if you have money, you don't have to wait in line with the peons. This is different from the ideal that was America. So we have a lot of work to do. And finally, in conclusion, I want to say to all of you, I've heard a lot of Muslims lately say, I'm so depressed. I was recently in Arabia, and I have a Muslim friend. He was a very active Muslim. And I said, what are you doing these days? He said, no, I've given up. That's what he said to me. He said, I've given up. I've had enough. You know, there's no hope. I grabbed him and I shook him, literally, physically. And people who know me know that I'm very capable of doing that. I shook him and I said to him, what do you mean there's no hope? If you want a bid'ah, hopelessness is a bid'ah. We are a religion of hope. We live on hope. Every time you're depressed or you say there's no hope, what you're saying to every African that was brought over in chains and survived the transatlantic crossing and came here and lived in slavery and marched to get their civil rights, you're saying to them that was all a waste of time. If you're depressed, you're dishonoring all those Andalusians who were chased out of what was called paradise at the time. They were chased out of Andalusia, but they made new lives for themselves in Tunisia, in Morocco. And today you have Andalusian families that hail from Andalusia, just like you have Palestinians here that were chased out of their homes. You're dishonoring all of those Indians that migrated to Pakistan with the hope of a better life. You're dishonoring the Afghanis that have lived in over 30 years of war, and they're still trying to hold their heads high. We can't do that. There's no room for hope. I'm in it till the last breath. I'm in it till the last breath. Because in that last breath, and I pray to God that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me on my last breath, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, because I believe in the promise of God. I believe that His prophet was true. I believe that hell is true and that the fire is true and that the day of judgment is true. And I testify to the truth of the sirat, that we will be weighed in the balance, and there will be those who are found wanting, and there will be those who are given grace, and there will be the outstrippers. These are all true things that every prophet has taught, and I believe in them. And I will hold to them till I die, and the struggle continues. This world was never meant to be paradise. God has created a world that is meant to drive you to God. And if you're being driven to the devil, you've been duped, my friends. Because all of the hardships that you suffer in your life, if you believe in God, you will find those rewards on the Day of Judgment. I was in Abu Dhabi, and a taxi driver said to me, and I'm done. I was in Abu Dhabi. A taxi driver said to me, I said, where are you from? He said, Dar'a. And I said to him, I hope that your family's safe. He said the house caved in on them. My father was killed. He said to me, I've worked 12 years. Every month I sent everything I could back to my father to build that house. And it was destroyed. I feel like my whole life is a waste. I said to him, Ya akhi, bil Arabiya, ihtasib 'inda Allah. Wallahi kunta fi birrin biwalidayk. You were in filial piety to your parents. Believe in the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What you're doing is not to build in this world. Man bana li hadhihi dunya faqad khaba ma bana. If you build for this world, what you build will go to naught. We build for the next world, not for this world. And if what we build, if my college in California is destroyed by an earthquake, so be it. So be it. But we are builders for the Akhira, and this is the place we do it. Jazakumullah khairan wa salam.
سلامي سلامي لقوم كرام